What is Redis CLI and useful commands? The Azure Redis Cache CLI or Redis CLI is a command line tool that provides a powerful and flexible way to interact with and manage Azure Redis Cache instances. It allows developers and administrators to perform various tasks and operations on Redis Cache without the need for a graphical user interface (GUI) or a specific programming language library. Here's a more detailed explanation of what Redis CLI is and what it can do. Here's an overview of what Azure Redis Cache is and why it's crucial for modern applications. Connecting to Redis Cache. Redis CLI allows you to establish a connection to your Azure Redis Cache instance. To connect, you typically provide the following information: hostname or IP address, the address of your Redis Cache instance; port, the port on which Redis is listening, usually 6379 or 6380 for secure connections; authentication, if your Redis Cache instance requires a password authentication token, you can provide it when connecting. Executing Redis commands. Once connected, you can issue Redis commands directly from the Redis CLI prompt. Redis has a rich set of commands for data manipulation, retrieval, cache management, and more. You can use Redis CLI to interact with your data by executing these commands. Redis CLI uses data manipulation. Redis CLI allows you to work with the data stored in your Redis Cache instance. You can perform operations like setting key value pairs, retrieving data, updating values, and deleting keys. Cache management. You can perform various cache management tasks using Redis CLI, such as clearing the cache, flushing all data, monitoring cache statistics, and configuring cache settings. Scripting and automation. Redis CLI can be integrated into scripts and automation workflows. This is particularly useful for tasks like backup, maintenance, and deployment automation. You can create scripts that use Redis CLI commands to interact with your Redis cache programmatically. Security and authentication. If your Redis Cache instance is secured with a password, you can provide the authentication password as an argument when connecting to ensure secure access. Monitoring and diagnostics. You can use Redis CLI to retrieve real-time statistics and performance metrics about your Redis Cache instance. This helps with monitoring the health and performance of your cache. Custom Redis commands. Redis CLI supports all standard Redis commands, but it can also be used to execute custom Lua scripts and commands specific to your application's needs. List of commonly used Redis CLI commands. Here are some of the most common Redis CLI commands that you can use to interact with the Redis server. These commands cover basic data manipulation, retrieval, and administrative tasks. Set the value of a key. Get the value of key. If the key does not exist, the special value nil is returned. An error is returned if the value stored at key is not a string, because get only handles string values. Del, delete one or more keys. Increase, increments the number stored at key by 1. If the key does not exist, it is set to 0 before performing the operation. An error is returned if the key contains a value of the wrong type or contains a string that cannot be represented as integer. This operation is limited to 64-bit signed integers. DCR decrements the number stored at key by 1. If the key does not exist, it is set to 0 before performing the operation. An error is returned if the key contains a value of the wrong type or contains a string that cannot be represented as integer. This operation is limited to 64-bit signed integers. Expire. Set a timeout on key. After the timeout has expired, the key will automatically be deleted. A key with an associated timeout is often said to be volatile in Redis terminology. The timeout will only be cleared by commands that delete or overwrite the contents of the key, including del, set, get set, and all the asterisk store commands. This means that all the operations that conceptually alter the value stored at the key without replacing it with a new one will leave the timeout untouched. For instance, incrementing the value of a key with incr, pushing a new value into a list with push, or altering the field value of a hash with hset are all operations that will leave the timeout untouched. TTL time to live returns the remaining time to live of a key that has a timeout. This introspection capability allows a Redis client to check how many seconds a given key will continue to be part of the dataset. Starting with Redis 2.8, the return value in case of error changed. The command returns -2 if the key does not exist. The command returns -1 if the key exists but has no associated expire. See also the peep-tl command that returns the same information with milliseconds resolution, only available in Redis 2.6 or greater. In summary, Azure Redis CLI, Redis CLI, is a versatile tool that simplifies the management and interaction with Azure Redis cache instances through the command line interface. It's an essential tool for developers and administrators working with Redis cache and offers fine-grained control over data, cache settings, and administration tasks.
Hey, if you like the content, please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a bite of Azure brilliance.